The Tony Gebhardt Show is sponsored by Anchor.
Are you tired of the same old music on your commute? Want to be informed and entertained at the same time? Introducing Anchor, the easiest way to create and distribute your own podcast. With Anchor, you can record and edit your audio straight from your phone and share it with the world in just a few taps. And with Anchor's built-in tools, you can add music and sound effects, collaborate with friends and co-hosts, and even monetize your podcast with sponsored messages. Whether you're a seasoned pro or a first-time podcaster, Anchor makes it easy to share your voice and stories with the world. Download Anchor now and start podcasting today.
The Tony Gebhardt Show. Music, motivation, and positively obnoxious. Welcome to the Tony Gebhardt Show, and thanks for tuning in. This is episode number 5, and I had the privilege of talking to my sister, Andrea Nelson, about the Business Enterprise Program. If you don't know what the BEP is, it's an amazing opportunity. It's a federal program that is devised for creating small business opportunities for low vision and blind entrepreneurs in federal or state buildings. So a lot of it is premise around the food industry. Okay, so snack bars, vending machines, cafeterias, so on and so forth. You design what it is that you want and find that niche, if you will. So it's a really great episode. I'm really excited to share it with you. Before we get into it, today's announcements. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, thank you for stopping by. The Tony Gebhardt Show, music, motivation, and positively obnoxious. And yes, I'm obnoxious. And I'm really excited because, we're halfway to 10 episodes. Like, this is so cool. Like, I'm counting every little milestone. I'm excited. I'm grateful. And leave a review on iTunes and Spotify. Please let us know what you think of the episode so you can feed the algorithm elephants. Because truth is that it really does matter. Really, it does. If you like the show and you appreciate the content that is being put out, not only thank you, first of all, but also, I would appreciate the review. Please review and subscribe on Apple and Spotify so that you don't miss an episode or when I do release them, and they go up every week. So really cool episode coming up next Saturday. I've got Scott McIntyre, an American Idol alumni, business owner himself, as well as a host with his wife of the podcast Enduring Hope, and just an awesome guy. We have great memories together, and I'm blessed to call him a friend, and just such an inspiring individual. So that'll be next Saturday, so stay tuned for that. And for those of you who attempted to watch the podcast live, apologize for some of the technical issues. Streaming software had bugged out, so eventually just had to put an end to that. And you'll still get the episode, of course, here on Apple and Spotify. I don't want to waste time. TonyGebhardt.com, where you'll be able to find all the content. Game streams are going to start back up next week with Mistworld. And I'll be getting back into the Veil, so on and so forth. So if you're following those, check it out on YouTube, subscribe there, and let's get to the podcast. Hey there, guys. This is the Tony Gebhardt Show. Thank you again for stopping by. And what I'm really excited to do is introduce another guest into the studio today. And I'm actually related to this person, my sister. Andrea Nelson, who is an accomplished business owner within the blind and low vision community, who is a part of the Business Enterprise Program. And, I've asked her to be on the show today to discuss, just her experiences and some of her challenges that she's met along the way as a low vision business owner. But, somebody who is a mother of 4 wonderful children, happily married, and just has a lot of charisma to share. Andrea, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so cool. And, I just trying to figure out where to start. How is the business going? And it's been, 10 plus years since you started in the BEP program. And, just tell us a little bit about that journey, what the Business Enterprise Program is, and, what have been some really, really good highlights along the way.
Sure, absolutely. Well, each state has their own business enterprise program that are run by a state agency, but it is for individuals who are low vision or legally blind. And this program is protected by state and federal laws in each state that allow people with visual impairments to run any food services on state and federal properties. So state buildings, office buildings, highway rest areas, some state prisons, as well as different schools. Each state is a little bit different. But here I've been a part of the Business Enterprise Program in Michigan since 2008, went through training, been running as a licensed operator since 2009. I've moved all over the state from different locations. The way Michigan works, it's based on a seniority system, and so you kind of start at the bottom and work your way up to the where you want to be. And as long as you're willing to move, get where your end goal is, there's a lot of great opportunities. So I started out in the Grand Rapids area where I grew up for a good portion of my life, and I have in the last 10 plus years ended up working my way around the state, and I am currently in the southwest corner now, and I'm not going anywhere. So this is my forever place, and business is thriving. Been very blessed and very thankful for that. Even through the tough years that we've had since COVID hit, people, a lot of people struggled through that, especially in our program, because they shut down a lot of state and federal buildings and a lot of people working from home, and they're just now starting to open that back up. But
right.
My experience and what I do exactly in my facility that I'm at is at a rest area, specifically a welcome center. So it is that first thing you come into when you come into Michigan. So I have vending machines there, and thankfully those machines were not shut down during COVID. So we were working through that and did not have to. We definitely saw a decline, but just like everyone else around the country, but we were able to keep that going and baby it until people started traveling again. And so we've been very blessed in that aspect.
Sure.
But like I said, I started out in vending, just different locations in the Grand Rapids area, and then had an opportunity to run a snack bar in the Flint State office building. And that was just a complete 180. You go from filling vending machines to being at a location all day long and running basically like a little C-store. So we did, a little bit of catering and basic snacks and fountain things like that. But it was a great learning experience because we were trained on all of that, and it gave me an opportunity to hands-on, firsthand experience to, learn what I needed to and, place it into real life. So we then moved to Lansing, where we spent some time in something similar, but a little bit bigger location where the demand was a lot higher and we had a lot more caterings. And I learned so much along the way on how to better my business and better myself in the food industry. And opportunity came back in 2010 for me to be able to come down to Southwest Michigan here. And we've been going ever since there. So
Sure. Yeah. And what I really find unique about the BEP program, because here at the Alaska Center for the Blind where I work, we promote the BEP program for the state of Alaska, and we've seen clients thrive through it. And it's really cool and motivating to see that it provides entrepreneurial opportunities. You design the business how you want it to look based on this specific model, whether that be, in a vending facility or cafeteria or snack bar, right? And you kind of choose your own system. But tell us a little bit more about the bidding system, because you had mentioned before that, it's kind of a seniority program, where you work your way to the top. So what does that really look like, and what is the whole bid system?
I can speak specifically on Michigan. I'm not as familiar with other states because they do vary. But here in Michigan, like I said, you as an operator start retaining a point system that they run off of. So you get so many points for seniority, and you also can earn more points by just being more involved in any non-mandatory trainings, being a part of an elected operators committee, which I've been on and off of for the past 10 years, but it's a group of operators who will stand in to help be a liaison between other operators in the state agency, who can help organize different trainings and offer help to those operators. So by being a part of that, you're able to gain more points. And so when facilities come available, whether it's because people are moving from different locations or people may retire or new facilities become available, they get put up on what they call the bid line, which all operators have access to online to be able to read that information, and it provides you with facility sales, what expectations are, history if there is any, whether or not employees are needed, those sort of things. But I say bid very loosely because it is purely based upon those points and whether you are in compliance with the rules for the program. There is no money exchanging hands. You're not having to, bid like by placing money on these facilities.
Right.
All these locations are owned and rented, or whatever the situation may be based on the location, by the state or federal agency. You come in as an operator, you own your own business, and you provide all of the products and the services, but the actual physical location and most of the time all of the equipment is owned by the state. So you're coming in and taking care of it. You're running that business as your own. You are responsible for everything when it comes to keeping inventory levels, paying your taxes, taking care of all of that. But because the equipment and facility location is owned by the state or federal, anything that may happen, there's policies and people in place to be able to help you with that. So if you have machine issues or there's something mechanically going on, or the list goes on, you have that support system in place to be able to have these things taken care of. And all of that happens because the program is run, like I say, it's a well-oiled machine. You as operators pay, and each state is a little bit different on their percentages. Here in Michigan, we pay each month what we call a set-aside fee. So we pay a certain amount back to the state agency based upon our sales, and that money goes towards any issues that may come up.
Almost like insurance.
Basically, yes, absolutely. Yep. And the state also provides like liability insurance. So there's so many benefits for the blind community to be able to take advantage of, the great opportunities that are given. If you're willing to put in the work, you can reap those rewards tenfold. Right.
So, this is an interesting topic to, and sort of a taboo. So you don't have to necessarily expand on it with such specific detail, but as I understand it, you're successful with this and earn enough to really make a living and take care of your children, your bills, and that, and some would say just by running vending machines, you know what I mean? Like it seems like that kind of idea. So that right there is a pure piece of evidence that really supports the idea that if you put your energy into this and commit, especially with your motivations, your children, your husband, your future, your eventual retirement later in life, you can succeed with enough motivation and positivity put into it.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. I am a full believer in life in general, that what you put in is what you get out. And this program is a definite mirror image of that concept. Everything that I do is because of my family and because of me wanting to be able to provide. My disability has never stopped me from wanting to succeed. And so when this opportunity came about, I was nervous. I had no idea. But I had to be able to be outspoken and ask the right questions and reach out to the right people. And
sure.
That's initially where it began, because I wasn't aware of it going through high school, or at least if it was brought up, it wasn't in detail, and so I push and promote this every time I might come across someone who, knows somebody or is visually impaired, because there's so many opportunities there. And because I was able to make those connections and talk to people who had firsthand experience with this program and were successful with it,
Right.
you have to be able to ask the right questions to the right people and not be afraid, because most people who, and I can't speak for everyone, but most people who, find that success are willing to share. They want to be able to share their experience to
Right.
be able to let you know. And I had that firsthand. I was able to speak to operators who were currently in the program when I wasn't, and was able to, pick their brain, so to speak. And, they taught me the same thing, that, you put the work in and you're able to get it back out. And yeah, up until recently, it was this business was my household's only source of income. Since then, things have changed, not on my end, but just, goals and aspirations of my husband. So he's working now outside of the business. And the transition happened once my kids were all of school age, because prior to that, we worked as a team, and he did a lot of the firsthand things with the business helping me. But now that they're all in school, I was able to take that lead role back, and he was able to follow, the dreams that he had. And it's been a great experience for us, and being able to provide my family with the things that they need and want. So
yeah. Well, and congratulations on that too, because at when you look at statistics, especially for 2022, 2023, and in prior years, especially for the blindness and low vision communities, that unemployment rate is just terrifyingly way too high.
yeah.
And it's with that kind of mindset and that strive for better employment, financial success, and sharing. And the theme on the podcast, right, is music, motivation, and positively obnoxious. I think that's one of those things that is positively obnoxious. It's just like you're trying to throw it out there to whomever who can stop collecting Social Security and start actually making a living with a work ethic that they can share with other people.
Yeah, there's so many more opportunities than what people can possibly imagine. And, I've never used it as a crutch ever, my disability, but those, there's people out there who are they're afraid, and they don't know. It's not even that opportunities aren't there. It's that they're not made available. The knowledge isn't there. And so to be able to have this opportunity to make that outreach and express that there are options, there's very good options for success,
Sure.
is just huge.
Right. Absolutely. And, let's just kind of put ourselves in a scenario here for a second. And somebody who may listen to this podcast or who knows about the business enterprise program now is curious, where do I start? What is my first step, in
Absolutely.
establishing a license or just getting into the community to get information? How would they go about it?
For sure. Well, like I said, I speak for my experience here in Michigan. For the most part, most states, they will have a program that is run specifically for the blind. Here in Michigan, you begin at the stage of vocational rehabilitation. And so through the Bureau of Services for Blind People here, you would reach out to their offices. If you don't already have a case or you're not in their system, you begin that process. You request to be able to open up a case and to provide that documentation that, yes, I'm disabled. And they will, give you assessments. And if you show interest in that business enterprise program, that's a different category. It's within the same Bureau of Services for Blind People, but they're two different. Vocational rehab has a whole lot of things that they do, and they help transition you into other opportunities, but they would be able to, at that point you in the direction of the business enterprise program. And there's a list of things and requirements that you need to go through, including and starting at the level of doing a job shadow. It's a basic, very first step, giving that person who's interested an opportunity to go and just be there. to firsthand know what's going on and to be able to have those questions that you might initially have answered by an operator. I've had a handful of people come to my location and just they shadow. They are there to experience, and I use it lightly, see what I do. You know what I mean? And they're able to ask those questions. They're not expected to work. They're not, it's just a come see it, experience it, ask the questions, making sure that yeah, this might be something that I'm interested in doing. And then, those next steps are making sure that you have those requirements. Here in Michigan, there are a few different things that you have to do, including a basic math class to make sure that you are able to succeed in running a business. The basic math skills, can you generate a report to be able to show that these were my sales and this is my inventory, and those basic things that you need to have to be able to run a business. And then once all of those requirements are met, you go through what we call the vending stand training, and they're in the process of fine tuning that and making it better each and every time. And pre-COVID, when I went through, it was different, a little bit different than it is now. They're giving a lot more opportunities for virtual training, but there is a lot of hands-on outside of that. Once you've gone through that, because it gives you a basic of everything you would need to know, whether you're running a cafeteria or a snack bar or vending services, they show you everything to get you started. How to do an inventory, how to make orders, how to all the things. It's a huge list, and it's an ever-growing list, I feel like. But you work through that and you graduate after creating a business plan, and they guide you all along the way. And once you've completed that, they do on-the-job training. And so you are given the opportunity to go and actually hands-on work with operators, those at snack bars as well as those at a vending facility. Because you going in, you may have gone through the class or may have known somebody or heard about it and said, this is what I want to do. I want to be on the highway. I want to do vending. That was my goal. But that's not always what your first opportunity might be, because of the availability as far as what facilities are open on the bid line and available. You may not start out there. So they need to be able to train you sufficiently on everything. I started out in a snack bar, and thankfully, because of the training that I received in my vending stand training, I was able to succeed in that and, provide the services that my customers needed. And each step along the way, each opportunity that I had, I was able to, make a living. And, depending on where I was in life, I never went without. I was always able to provide a place for my family to stay, food to eat, bills being paid, and you have to be able to work your way up. So once you've done the vending stand training and you've done those on the job training, you are therefore then eligible to be able to place bids. So I guess that was a very brief, way of saying, what the process is. There's obviously a lot more to it, and all of this information is available on all of the state agencies' websites, or you're able to reach out to your counselor or operators you might know, or me. I would love to answer any questions if people had questions specifically to what their opportunities might be.
Sure. Well, and if would you be comfortable with providing an email address, or how could people get a hold of you if they have questions, particularly from your point of view or experiences? And if you're not,
absolutely.
Okay, good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No. Email is perfect. And it would definitely be a first step to be able to make contact and go from there. I would absolutely have no problem with that.
I'm curious because, every business owner has one or two incidents where they're like, oh my gosh, is this really happening to me? My business, because your business in a lot of ways is almost like like it's another child. It's something that you have to care for. It's something you have to be conscientious of. Every action that you do has a consequence. And, I'm curious, can you share a time where, something crazy happened and you were like, oh my gosh, like, what are we going to do?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Well, most recently, I guess, because it happened a few summers ago, I am, like I said, on the highway. So I have vending machines and the general public is able to have access to them. That's not the case for every location, but with me it was. And you do everything in your power as a business owner to be prepared as far, the best you can for any situation. And people will still surprise you. We had a few incidences over the years where we've had to deal with vandalism, and it was something that I just was not expecting. You just don't know. You're not in the mind of other people's heads, and you don't know why they do the things that they do. And so we got a call in the middle of the night one night that someone had broken into our vending machines, and we had to make the quick decision to be able to immediately, contact the authorities and start that process of assessing the situation. We were able to evaluate and contact the state agency, and they did what they do as far as being able to get me back up and running and helping me with repairs. And while we were able to work with the police to be able to get our security footage out there publicly between social media and different outlets, we were able to have a success story from our situation. We had a group of people, or a gentleman, break into our location a few different times, separate times. And by having that security measures in place, we eventually were able to make a complete positive ID on the person that was involved. And with police at that point taking charge and taking care of the situation, we were able to they were able to catch him, and were able to convict on the different issues that he incurred. It was just something completely unexpected, and it really hit home because, like you said, this business is part of me. And so we just now are even more prepared and have more security measures in place to be able to hopefully deter and prevent this from happening again.
Sure. Well, and it's amazing that people came together as a community to be able to surround themselves around you, to support you in that moment. And, you rose to the occasion. The business survived. Everyone, came out of it unscathed. And, I bring that question up because everyone at some point in their life will have a situation where they have to act on instincts. They have to act on that preparedness. And you become so much more stronger with that extra layer of cement now, and then this covers every aspect of business, every aspect of passion and pursuit. There's going to be something that does occur where you have to be conscientious, you have to be prepared, and have a good head on your shoulders about it. And that kind of tenacity, that's what makes a business successful.
Absolutely.
Andrea, it's been amazing just getting another chance to talk with you about the BEP program. I know we have our own philosophical conversations all the time, and this is just a good platform, I think, for a lot of blind and low vision individuals to be able to hear about this. So again, if you have questions regarding the Business Enterprise Program, and if this is something that you are interested in, send an email to Andrea, reach out to your local Division of Vocational Rehabilitation Office or Blind Services Division, and get in with a counselor, and just ask these important questions, and just never stop learning. That's where we really find our success, is through curiosity and open-mindedness.
Definitely. I really appreciate the opportunity to come on, so thank you.
GreatNonprofits.org is a 501c3 nonprofit. Great Nonprofits helps people focus on making good giving decisions based on socially sourced feedback and reviews. Go to www.greatnonprofits.org and type in your zip code or city to find a charity or nonprofit near you that you can help.